Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Wednesday, March 16th slate of NBA and college basketball games. I'm super excited to hop into it. We have another fantastic slate, a huge slate of NBA, and a pretty decent slate of college basketball, too. It's just about tournament time, so I'm really excited to dive into it. But first, I did just want to go ahead and say we are on the road to 6,000 subscribers as of right now. And at the time of recording this video, we are less than 600 subscribers away. So hopefully we can go ahead and hit that mark by the end of March. That's kind of my goal right now. But I can't do that without your guys' help. So if you guys are new, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it. But God, there's just still something not right. And boom, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the shades are coming back again. 2 4-0 days in a row, 2 clean sweeps right in a row. We are on absolute fire right now, 8-0 in our last 2 days. Absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and try to keep that rolling. We've had a great week so far. There's so much good basketball on today, but I found some absolute gems of plays. So let's go ahead and dive into it. First, we got to do a recap as of yesterday. You guys know that I got a sweep, but let's just talk about it a little bit. So we had Wendell Carter Jr. over 16.5 points versus Brooklyn at minus 125 odds. And man, Kyrie Irving, he's an absolute menace. I mean, wow, that game was absolutely fantastic from Kyrie Irving. I mean, that was a true showing of just how good of a basketball player Kyrie Irving is. But at the end of the day, Wendell Carter Jr. still hit his over. He scores 10 points in the first quarter. Finishes with only 18, though. It was kind of a little bit of a sweat, but it ended up working out for us. Then we had Jimmy under 6.5 rebounds versus Detroit. Unfortunately, he does get injured. That's definitely not the way that we want to win a bet. I hate to see injuries in the NBA. Truly, it's just truly so devastating. But a win's a win at the end of the day. So we had Jimmy under 6.5 rebounds. That one worked. Then we had Phoenix -5 versus -6, excuse me, versus New Orleans Pelicans, and that one ended up cashing for us. Not really any sort of a sweat, like at all. And then we had Indiana -4 versus Wyoming. What a fantastic college basketball game, man! That was such a great game, and it ended up working out for us. Indiana puts it away late, ends up winning by, I believe, 8 points, somewhere around there. So pretty good game overall. But like I said, we have some great plays today, so let's go ahead and dive into it. Our first play of the day, we're going back to it. Going back to the same play, Tobias Harris under 15.5 points versus Cleveland at -110 odds. Now, if you look at Tobias Harris's last 9 games, he has actually gone under this line in 6 of them, and a lot of it is due to he's not getting a whole bunch of shots, and on top of that, he's kind of been pretty poor when he has been shooting. So he has gone under in 6 of his last 9 games. And versus the Cavaliers, historically, he's gone under in 3 straight games versus them. So he has just had struggles against this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And in the Cleveland Cavaliers' last 7 games, they have allowed the 4th fewest points per game to opposing power forwards in the entire NBA. So I think we see a ton of value here. And also, both these teams play at super, super slow paces. Philadelphia plays at the 3rd slowest pace in the entire NBA. And guess what? Cleveland plays at the 2nd slowest. So both of these are very, very, very slow teams. So not a whole lot of shots to go around. And so I don't think Tobias Harris gets a lot of shots. And I do think he hits this under. Also, Cleveland's actually been a pretty good defensive team this year. They do allow just the 2nd fewest points per game to opposing teams in general. And I do think that it's going to be a little bit different. I think that Tobias Harris is going to be playing more of a 3-point shooter type role, especially with Evan Mobley kind of, there in the center. I know that losing Jared Allen does take a little bit of a hit for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, but I still think that overall they're a good defensive team. So that's our first play of the day. Tobias Harris under 15.5 points versus Cleveland at -110 odds. Our second play of the day, we're taking another absolute wagon. We're taking Raptors -1.5 versus the Clippers at -115 odds. I think this line is just a little bit too slow. The Raptors have covered in 4 straight games. And on the road this year, they are 22-13-1 against the spread on the road. And following a win, which they did just have versus the Lakers, which we also bet on that one, they are 21-16 against the spread following a win. And as a road favorite this year, They are 8-3 against the spread, so they're absolutely crushing it. And when it comes to the Clippers, well, unfortunately, they haven't covered in 2 straight games. They are starting to trend in the wrong direction, and it hasn't been against great teams either. Well, I shouldn't say that. One of them was against Detroit, who is starting to trend in the right direction. But overall, it's not like it's superstar teams by any stretch of the imagination. And at home this year, the Clippers are just 16-18 against the spread. So I think this line is just a little bit too low for a Raptors team that has been red hot recently. So that is going to be our second play of the day. Raptors -1.5 versus Clippers at -115 odds. Our third play of the day is going to be Donovan Mitchell over 5.5 assists versus my Chicago Bulls at -110 odds. Now, if you look at it, Donovan Mitchell has covered this exact line in 6 straight games. No, I'm not kidding. He has covered it in 6 straight games, seeing double digits in a lot of those games. And versus my Chicago Bulls, he has hit the over in 4 straight games. So he has really done a great job of distributing the rock recently, and I don't think the books have quite caught up with it yet. And when it comes to these two teams, surprisingly, they both play at pretty fast paces. Utah in their last 3 games have played at the 9th fastest pace in the entire NBA. In Chicago, they play at the 16th fastest pace. So nothing too crazy for Chicago, but that Utah, they do play in the top 10 in pace in the last 3 games. In Chicago, they allow the 12th most assists per game in general. And if you take a look at the opposing main ball handlers for teams against my Chicago Bulls, they've seen a lot of assists. If you look at it, De'Aaron Fox, he had 6 assists. Darius Garland, he had 7 assists. Cade Cunningham had 6. James Harden had 14. Drew Holiday had 5, and Trae Young had 13. So a lot of the primary ball handlers have seen a lot of success with assists versus my Chicago Bulls. So I think we're going to be getting that again. So that's going to be our third play of the day. Donovan Mitchell over 5.5 assists versus Chicago at -110 odds. And then for our college play of the day, we are going to be taking Iona +6.5 versus Florida at -115 odds. As an underdog this year, Iona is 4-1 against the spread. So they are covering it 80% of the time. And in neutral site games this year, they are 6-2 against the spread, so covering 75% of the time. I think we see a ton of value here for Iona. And Florida, they are starting to trend in the wrong direction here recently. They have not covered in 2 straight games. And at neutral site games, Florida really has struggled this year. They are just 2-3 against the spread in neutral site games. And as a favorite, a lot of times they are pretty poor against covering the spread. They are just 11-12 against the spread as a favorite this year. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. We are on the road to 6,000 subscribers, and we are less than 600 away. I'd love to be able to hit that by the end of March. But also, hopefully we can go ahead and bring out the shades for 3 days in a row. That would be absolutely insane. But we've been on an absolute tear here recently after having a really, really awful week last week. So it's really nice to be able to turn things around. So that is going to do it for me. This is King Sayer signing out. Peace.